I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rukakadash. Double honors to all the apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And shalom to the sincere Akyam, spreading his truth and sincerity. Shalom. So in this video, I actually want to, touch on the topic that, we're being surveillance, man. Basically the governments, they are, keeping track of our movements, track of what we're doing. They are, basically watching us, man. They're watching, the men of the Lord, and, you know, trying to find out that, what we're actually, talking about, when it pertains to biblical prophecy is actually, the truth, man. And, you do need to understand that there might be some, I say that PG, certain PG, content in the scriptures, related to violence, related to destruction, you know. So it's actually quite understandable that this world, which, has been really softened up, by the hands of Esau Edom, who is in control right now, deems that, to be, a topic or, people of interest. Because you do need to understand as well that Esau Edom, the so-called white man upon the earth, is in control of this earth right now. And we are actually prophesying, you know, concerning, his downfall. And also back in the days, um, if I believe, it to be correct, it was Herod as well, that during the time of Yahweh Shai, his birth, was already shook up by the fact that, the Lord was already predicted to be born, and eventually, was born. You see, because that then is an opponent, to the establishment, to call it like that. So yeah, it's quite understandable that Esau is doing these things, but of course, this is also being mentioned in the scriptures, man. And the reason I want to go into it is because recently I watched the new War of the Worlds, with Ice Cube in it, which, the movie in itself is just a basically goofy version of the official one, or basically, concerning War of the Worlds, by H.G. Wells. So the 2025 version is basically a goofy version of that. And one of the topics that it does go into is the fact that Ice Cube himself is a data analyst, who is basically, some sort of hacker, for the government of America, for the United States, trying to protect the country, from outside threats, when it pertains to hackers or inside threats, when it are hackers, from within America. But the point of the matter is that in this movie, he is basically, checking out people, man. Surveilling, people's daily lives, and basically going into the privacy of other people. You see, but to basically summarize what is going on is this, they're watching the people. Like I started off this lesson with, they're also watching us. Especially because of what we teach, what we preach, because we are basically categorized as a hate group, to say it like that, because we are basically racist, which to be racist means to be for your own people, which we are, in favor of the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but also those that were scattered among the heathen nations, looking like the heathen nations, but whose lineage does go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob according to the father's seed line, man. So we also look like the heathen nations. So with us, it's not about a color thing, man. It's about a nationality thing, which, according to the scriptures, we have been scattered amongst the four corners of the earth, looking like the heathen nations as well. So we are in the midst of them, and in the midst of those people. That's why it also mentions in Tobit chapter 13, and if I'm correct, it was the third verse, where we are basically confessing the Heavenly Father before the Gentiles because He has scattered us amongst them. So there are those that, are actually Israelites, but they look like Japanese people. They look like Arabs. They look like Ishmaelites, but they are actually Israelites. And so forth, and so forth, and so forth. So we are speaking the word of Yahweh Shemel Shai, in the four corners of the earth, basically, prophesying the downfall of this current society, and we are, heralding in, the up and coming kingdom to come, which is the kingdom of Israel, which is going to be established upon this earth and also in the entire universe. So yes, Esau, they are monitoring us, man. They are watching our every moves. But the thing is, according to the scriptures, when we behave according to the scriptures, there will be nothing that they can find on us, on the true man, the Lord. They can find nothing on us to basically come up against us, man, because we're going to be blameless. The things that they're going to try to get us with is basically with the laws that they want to establish, that deem what we are doing actually to be wrong, and they're going to try to have these false flag type of things, type of situations to basically, badmouth us and, to put us in the category of, terrorists and things like that, T-Rex, But the point of the matter is we are being monitored and they're checking out, whether the things that we are saying are actually correct. And that is something that they was also able to show in the video, in the movie, pertaining to War of the Worlds 2025. They was able to put it in there, and you need to understand that if they put certain things in movies and series, there have been, technological advancements that far precede or exceed, let me say that exceed what they're showing you or us in those videos, man. Hey, you can basically bet your money on it that the technology that they have, we are right now, we are 50 years behind on what they actually have, but on what they're giving unto us, But this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, and let me just go and start off at verse 13. It says, He professed to have knowledge of the Most High, and he called himself the child of the Lord. And that's us. We profess to have knowledge pertaining to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Scriptural knowledge, And we know the Heavenly Father because we understand Him through what we understand through the Scriptures. We are able to comprehend the desires of the Heavenly Father and see the type of man that He actually is. That's why it says that they're basically not able to recognize us because they don't know the Heavenly Father. Because if they would have known the Heavenly Father, they would have known us, because they would then see that we are walking in the way of the Heavenly Father according to how the Heavenly Father wants His man to basically behave. Verse 14, He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. For His life is not like other men's, His ways are of another fashion. You see, so this is pertaining to the wicked, man. You need to understand that the way of the wicked and the way of the righteous, they're contrary to one another. And you have to understand that, like it says in the book of Proverbs, that righteousness is basically an abomination to the wicked, and wickedness is an abomination to the righteous, to the just. So these two are contrary one to another, and they're both going to be disgusted by it, man. Disgusted by the opposing way of living. Verse 16, we are esteemed of Him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounced the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh His boast the Most High as His Father. Yes, so we, esteem the wicked as counterfeits, because they want to call themselves, the children of the Heavenly Father. You look at the people, the small heads in the land of Israel. They want to try and proclaim that they are actually us. So they're actually the fake ones, because they're not the true Israelites, man. It says, He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. Yeah, we, to the best of our abilities, we try to stay away from, from the wickedness and the wicked ways of this world, man. The wicked ways that they actually push. It says, He pronounced the end of the just to be blessed. Yes, we prophesy about it. We prophesy about the kingdom to come, wherein dwelleth nothing but righteousness. Where righteousness is going to be, established upon the earth. And of course, we do know and understand that the heathen, they ain't going to be able to pertain unto righteousness, but they're going to be instructed. They're going to be governed. It says, and make it His boast that the Most High is His Father. Yeah, that is something that we are proclaiming. That we are the children of the Heavenly Father, because we are Yashar Allah. He that is a prince of the power, which a prince is the son of the king. So you do the math, man. The Heavenly Father is the king of the earth, man. Verse 17, let us see if His words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of Him. So they're examining us, man, because they want to now see if the things that we speak on, are the truth, if that will come to pass, So they're examining us, watching our every move, man. But we're getting closer and closer to the fulfillment of prophecy, man. Of prophecies being fulfilled on a daily basis. We're getting closer to the end, man. Verse 18, for if the just man be the son of the Most High, He will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. That is what we're proclaiming, man. That we are the sons of the Heavenly Father. And that the Heavenly Father will help us and guide us in the time to come. And that is something that they're actually watching. You need to know and understand that the elites, they're watching us closely, man, because they're the ones that are actually afraid of us rising up, because that's going to be their direct downfall, man. And if there are going to be men of the elect, that the Heavenly Father, allows to be captured, when eventually be brought before these quote-unquote nobles and kings of Esau, to be tortured and examined, then they're going to try and test whether the Heavenly Father is going to help us out, man. You see? But whether, in adversity or whether it is in prosperity, we got to be faithful unto the Heavenly Father, man, because the Heavenly Father, He might test our faith, by being brought before the guillotine. Our heads might be chopped off, man. That might be the case. We don't know. But even if that happens, you gotta have to remain faithful, man. But also understand this, the Heavenly Father is able to break the guillotine as the guillotine is falling down, aimed at your neck. It might bounce off your neck. You see? No matter what, keep the faith, man. Keep the faith. It says, and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. So they know that we prophesy about that's going to happen. They are really wondering whether that is going to happen. You see? Verse 19, let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. You see? So they're basically, because examining, can go into, both observing, but you can observe from a distance, but you can also observe from up close and put certain things to the test. You see? So what you're actually trying to say here as well is that they want to find out, how meek and humble we are and prove our patience, man. You see? So know this. They are watching us. They're keeping track of our every move, man. When shit hits the fan and they are targeting us, you better be sure that they're targeting us because they want to find out what's going to happen, man. They want to know what's going to happen with us, man. Whether the Heavenly Father is going to help us out, man. But the day comes when the Heavenly Father puts forth, his spirit upon his man in those days. That standard, that way out of that situation when the enemy comes in like a flood. That they're going to shit their pants, man. Because, like it also says in 2 Esdras chapter 16, then it shall be known who are my chosen, man. Then it shall be known who are the chosen of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yahshai. Because they're going to be protected. They're going to be kept safe. Yes, they're going to be tested, but they're going to be kept safe. And Esau, you better know this, man. You better know that the Heavenly Father, is in control of everything upon this earth, man. Whether you want to believe it or not, want to hear or forbear. The people upon this earth gonna know that there have been prophets among them, man. Spoke on these things. It says, let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he should be respected. And that's the mushed up thing. Because now they're gonna come for us just to see and try, and come to find out whether the Heavenly Father, is dealing with us. And that's a wicked thing in itself, man. That's wickedness, man. Verse 21, such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness blinded them. Crazy. Yeah, man. So the point of the matter is, man, we are being watched. We're being tracked down. They're able to do these things from a distance. But hey, we're gonna be blameless, man. We're gonna be found blameless. Even though we're gonna be tried and tested, we're gonna be found blameless. And, they're not able to do anything against the elect of the Most High, man, because it's the Most High that justifies. You see? So yeah, with that, I do hope and pray that this video was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And shalom to the sincere Akim, spreading his truth and sincerity. Shalom.